Good morning to everybody here in the paddock, and good morning to everyone watching along at home. It is day number 3, main event Sunday for the 2025 IAME Grand National Championship. Xander Clements here alongside me, Caleb Vieska, Kyle Cuthbertson, as we begin to open the morning show. For the first time this weekend, the sun's not beaming quite down. A bit of overcast skies. First and foremost, Kyle, we had a lot of racing already over the first 2 days. What can the viewers expect here today?
I mean, kind of the same thing we've seen the last 5 years, right? You know, we have had these nightly shootout races that kind of are just for the money, one-time event. Now, you've worked all 3 days to this point to get to where you're at, to where you're starting, all for $5,000. You know, this is really everything you've worked for these last couple of days, and it all comes down to this.
Caleb, what about you?
I mean, it's exciting, right? And we're going to expect to see some great racing, right? The storylines definitely come out today. Xander, myself, yourself talked about it, 2023, 2024. We saw some great stuff, and I'm expecting to see the exact same tonight, right? And we've already seen those stories develop throughout the weekend. You know, Friday, Saturday, even Thursday when we were here for the practice day. It's all kind of just built up to this moment. And, again, we're going to have some new IAME Grand National champions this year, or maybe we have some repeats. We'll see.
Yeah, there's definitely a few former Grand National champions in the field, and we'll get to those as all 6 divisions will get to run their warm-up session here this morning. There'll be 7 total practice sessions coming up here for our free kind of opening coverage and game day of our own here on Sunday at the 5th running of the IAME Grand National Championship, presented by MG Tires. Apex Apparel as an official partner of the KA Shootout, and like both of these guys mentioned, along with the regular run through the weekend with practice on Thursday, qualifying, Heat 1 on Friday, Heat 2 and a super heat race yesterday. They had night races for all 6 divisions, including the micro swifts that just released onto the racetrack behind us. So there's more, like you said, storylines that carry into the main today, because drivers, don't forget, whether it's a different race session, a practice session, a test session, every on-track moment that you have with one of your competitors, you kind of put in your notebook. As the micros head onto the racetrack, the driver leading them out is the one who we saw shine under the lights Friday night. Lennox Lockhart had one of the biggest cheering sections of all 6 classes at the shootout race. It was a very popular win. He's a very upbeat young man, and it was fun to get to see him celebrate, get a $1,000 payday bonus. But that race, Kyle, I'll pass it to you first. I mean, what a way to kick off the 6 shootouts that we've had so far this weekend, Friday evening.
Yeah, I think Caleb called it last night when it was mini Swift, that these Swift classes are probably the most entertaining, exciting races that we see throughout a weekend. And you know, Lennox Lockhart this season has just been undeniably one of the best. I mean, just such a bubbly, you know, kind young kid. You know, he's just been unstoppable this year, and to get it done in the shootout was huge.
And again, he's going to be going up a former IAME Grand National champion, if you will, reigning IAME Grand National champion, Dutch Westbrook, here later on today. And again, they were going back and forth in that shootout. Lennox was really good. I know Alex was happy, and Alex was talking about the strategy. Alex Sir, our very own, for those of you at home. And again, he was saying, you know, the biggest thing I told Lennox is if you get past, you got to go right back in these shootout races. You need to be leading. You need to be out in front. And Lennox did just that. As you know, we were talking about it yesterday, right? Xander, just you need to be out in front, and he did just that to stay out in front. But again, my eyes are on the Bennick of Dutch Westbrook as well. I'm looking at a couple of other drivers to get themselves into the mix, to get themselves up there. Liam Francisco, driver that we've seen over at the SCUSA Pro Tour, one of the ones I have my eye on. And Slate Harrell, hometown kid, how can you not count him? You know, how can you not put him in contention? The number 8 was pretty good yesterday in heat race number 2.
Yeah, and to make his way through the field the way that he did, it wasn't an ideal qualifying for Slate, but he made quick work of the pack. It was 4 or 5 deep almost every single lap of competition in the micro Swift divisions. And like you were talking about Lennox, no different for Slate Harrell. Once a young driver develops to the point where they break through and they get that first big podium, and more importantly, when they get their first win, it seems like the floodgates open. They kind of almost turn a page and become a different driver. And I ran into Lennox's father yesterday as we were prepping for the Saturday shootouts, and just to run back Friday night, what a moment it was. They were beating on the garage building. The crowd was fired up. But beyond that, you know, to joke of where they were, you know, a year ago, and even at the club level when they started down at the sister track to Trackhouse Motorplex, AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires, that You know, coming into last year at the same events, at the same venues, they were just hoping to finish in the top half of the field or to finish the weekend. And then that with that low expectation, I told them that last year. That's when it's fun. Lennox comes away with anything less than a win today. The same for last year's winner, Dutch Westbrook, or Slade Harrell after he got his first big wins this year. They're frustrated. But 6 months ago, that they would have been over the moon. So that's the catch-22 of developing.
And take a look back to last year. If you don't remember, when we were here for Night Fight, Lennox finished inside of the top 10. We interviewed him. He was pumped up for even a top 10, right?
Yeah.
For his first top 10 finish, and now he finishes second, and it's the worst day ever. And that's how you have that perspective change where these drivers turn into race winners. All right, and that, you know, even looking ahead to next year, we're going to see a huge jump in competition next year in the Mini Swift class, where that rookie class that goes into Mini Swift is going to be really, really competitive.
Yeah, this is the point of the year when we start to kind of look towards the rest of the season, right? We're through the regular championships for the U.S. Pro Kart Series, for the SCUSA Pro Tour. In 2 weeks, this very racetrack will see the Stars Championship Series season finale for the Night Fight, and there'll be a couple of the drivers on screen contending for the Micro Championship in that regular season as well, and then it all builds up to the Super Nationals, where the biggest stage, the biggest lights in the entire industry and the entire sport are on these young 7 to 10-year-old drivers, and that field already sold out within 48 hours, along with the majority of the rest of the classes for that race. And for this weekend, to kick off with Micro Swift, we started with originally a list of 20, as you can see on screen, 18 here for the warm-up, but we're up a good bit on the entry count, and between the weather we've had, the atmosphere we've had, the layouts we've run, the racing that each layout and each format through the weekend has provided. Speaking with Eric, with the Trackhouse crew, with Dan Brewer, Trackhouse Motorplex GM, with Blake Hunt, race director. I mean, this is exactly what I think the last 4 years have been aiming to be, and they've all been fantastic in their own right. But Kyle, this year has just been, it feels like everything this event was meant to be has finally come together across all 6 divisions.
Yeah, you know, some years recently we've gotten a bit clouded by the rain, you know, and it didn't really feel the same, or we weren't able, the weather didn't allow us to have the kind of fun that we expect to have here. But I think you're absolutely right. The weather, the way the races have gone, just everything in this weekend. I think the timing too. Like, I think coming off of 2 national championships being closed out within 3 weeks, and then coming to an event where points are on the line, we're really just here to race and have fun. I think it's huge.
Yeah, that's a big point, right? This is a point of the year. This year, especially, the schedule, the tour between all of the major championships that all of these race teams, all these drivers, or the majority of them, try to follow and chase, that makes up this traveling circus as we come to know and love, seems to have kind of worked itself out. There was a point last year, the year before, where there was a bit of burnout in the year. And it just seemed like by the time we got to this point in the season, everyone was a bit needing a break. And yet with these 2-week gaps, these 3-week gaps, as exciting as both of those season finales were, the Pro Tour at the end of July, the U.S. Pro Kart Series most recently, everyone I think entered this weekend on a high, and the fact that we started off with great weather for move-in, a smooth practice day, a ton of fun yesterday on the alternate layout. It seems like the atmosphere has been very positive, and that to me is a big testament to every single member of the paddock, working together as much as they can and as much as makes sense to keep the energy up, because that's hard to do. I mean, you see it across the board in racing. IndyCar right now finishing a massive summer stretch. NASCAR always busy. And a shout out as well here as we get to the end of the Micro Swift warm-up session to, of course, Trackhouse Motorplex alumni now, a former multi-time shootout race winner, a commentator with us, Connor Zilish, yesterday, Portland International Raceway, win number 8 as he chases his first Xfinity title in his rookie season, and now an official NASCAR Cup Series driver. Started right here in the Carolinas. This track was home, and it's home and to a lot more on the way. And some of those drivers on screen now may be joining the likes of Connor in the coming years in some of the biggest stages motorsport has to offer.
Yeah, the biggest note I have to add to that, right? A lot of people, a lot of drivers making the move out here to North Carolina to live here full time. One of the ones that I've had a pleasure of knowing for a while, Brody Stoffel. They've been living out of an RV for the last couple months, last couple weeks as well, to try and get closer to NASCAR country. And he's out there on the racetrack. He's actually looking for a little bit more this weekend, along with teammate Mason Brody, who again, Mason had a great drive. The 72's really been really competitive the last couple weeks in the last couple events as well.
Yeah, it was, I'm sure, frustrating in the JHGD camp for Mason to be watching his teammates have the speed to fight for the win in Micro Swift and in Mini Swift. And finally, all the pieces kind of came together in that superheat yesterday to drive forward. And obviously the speed's still there here on the standard layout, 5th at the end of warm-up. Lennox Lockhart, though, with a big-time delta over the field. Bo Stowers with a very solid run. The Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart crew. We followed Liam Francisco earlier in this session. We talked about Slate Harrell. They end up 9th and 10th, but teammate and another Trackhouse Motorplex superstar in the making, Bo Stowers, P2, with the checkers flying on the first of our 7 practice sessions here this morning. And a look down to the rest of the field. 19 in total. Leonardo Tavares wasn't able to get much out of that session, but 18 of your 19 did. Now, again, 6 more warm-ups remain, but let's take you back a little bit through the 5 iterations of what we got to watch last night. If you weren't able to stay up and watch with us the MG Tires X30 Pro Shootout, the support classes as well for the Fast 10 shootouts and Mini Swift and X30 Jr., that race every year has gotten its own story with a different layout up until this year when we finally reused one from 2021. So let's take you back through it here. The original shootout layouts from the first iteration of the IAME Grand National Championship getting some new life this year. There's Connor going at wheel-to-wheel with Ryan Norberg, and right off the bat, the 2 drivers that seemed to be the best through the heats were out. And then the final lap, a very similar scenario from last night's show, and we'll get to that. Paulie Massimino scoring the win. Braden Eves led, ultimately left the door open. Brandon Jarskrek had an incredible pass coming to the white flag, and then up the hill to turn 3, Paulie was able to get the better of him. Then the next year, the bar was set pretty high, and we decided to change things up a little bit and go for the first ever time on the switchback layout that we raced on all day long yesterday with Heat 2 and the Superheat. And this weekend, the 2022 X30 shootout, Ryan Norberg looked incredible, but he had a problem in one of the heats, and so the charge and the spotlight was on the now 10-time Pro National Champion, who unfortunately isn't here this weekend, but watching along, I was actually chatting with him a little bit throughout the last 2 nights of racing. He was giving me a little bit of insight of who to watch out for and how to look for the players in these shootouts, and he made it look easy in 2022 to get his first. And then 2023, going backwards on the switchback layout. We haven't run this layout since, and you can see it's for a good reason. This track wasn't designed this way, but Joe Turney made it look easy in the rain. We were gearing up for what could have been a very entertaining race in the dry, and right before that main event went green, I believe it might have even been right before the heats, the heavens opened up, and goodness, the Brit just put on an incredible display. But then 2024, we went back to the 2021 layout, and Hayden Jones, Ryan Norberg, those 2 were still pretty much class of the field, and they were able to get away early, and Hayden kept Ryan honest. But then in the final couple laps, one little bobble just opened the gap enough. Ryan was able to cruise to the finish, get his 2nd shootout win. So we ran it back for the 3rd, I'll correct myself, time running this layout for the X30 shootout. We've done 10 shootouts. We've done the alternate day on Saturday. You can only switch this place up so many different directions with it being safe enough, and also throwing a curveball at the field. But last night's barn burner finale here, the 2 heat races, they seemed ultimately to maybe not live up to the standard of what we saw in the KA shootout races. They were still very entertaining in their own right, but they weren't as chaotic with specific drivers going back and forth, because we had 20 of them and we split them down to the best 15. But before we even got to the X30s, it was the Mini Swift main, and this one again only 10, and initially it looked like it was only going to be 2. Liam Nachawati and Maxwell Macha, you could see here in the opening couple laps, I thought they were gone. They had a huge lead, and they just continued to kind of shuffle for 3rd on back. Lawrence Perriman going wheel-to-wheel with the likes of Colton Bruck, Holden Myers, Cade Wolf, Jaden Francisco there on the inside in the red and black Nitro Kart. All the while, the top 2 were well up the road, but neither one of them wanted to work together. They continued to battle and defend, backing up the field. Jaden had an incredible run to the outside of Liam right here, but he got just fed a little bit and sent into the grass, and the grass was so gnarly here this week that it caught a few out. And that same moment happened on the final lap and gave us a first-time shootout winner, a first-time national race winner, Lawrence Perriman. He didn't know it was the final lap. He saw the checkers, instantly started celebrating, and crashed with, unfortunately, Zane Burgess, who was like, dude, I almost had it. Just let me get out of here. And Lawrence was so caught up in the moment. And then right here, it finally began to sink in as the engine shuts off and it goes quiet in your helmet for a moment. And Lawrence, the emotion just poured out. Said he owed Paulie Massimino $500 because they had a deal before the race. Obviously, Paulie's going to let him keep it. Well deserved, and a great moment for the BJR crew that already had a phenomenal Friday night. And we'll talk about that later on. But for X30 Jr., then they followed it up with, again, the bar set pretty high. And we saw the battling between the two drivers that kind of topped the day. One in particular in Lucas Palacio, and then the battle kind of shifted back. All the while, Ashton Woon was getting away further and further up front. You see here Max Weiland. He was the second quickest for the majority of the session, but got buried too far back. And for Ashton Woon, it was a flag-to-flag dominant victory. And he gets Speed Concepts Racing, his family here, another driver that has relocated to North Carolina to chase the dream and fully focus on becoming the best driver that he can. And the junior rookie adds on to the first-timer narrative with his first time taking the checkers after multiple podiums and a lot of close calls this year. Now let's get to X30, right? Starting things off right off the rip. Chase Gassiet late from the outside of the front row. Didn't look good early. He got passed by Austin Garrison. And Gus Lawrence didn't necessarily look super confident either. So while the battle for third was opening up, Gus was very aggressive to try and fend Austin Garrison back. And to Austin Garrison's credit, I thought he drove this race much like a champion. And maybe that's not the type of style that these races pay off. These all-star shootout events, they're treated differently, they're viewed differently, and the drivers have to adapt. And he cut Gus a lot of breaks, but ultimately, being a bit patient, being a bit conservative, opened the door for more to join. And then right here, just like in 2021, a last-second move in turn 8. But in this scenario, Caleb Gaffera followed Alessandro DiTullio, gave him just a little love to wash up the hill in turn 3 and score the win for Hodes Driver Development. They have been so fast this year, and finally, all the hard work paid off. There is team owner Josh Oates, and Caleb said, look, man, I don't care. I needed to get a win. I was willing to do whatever it took. And what he did, got himself a $5,000 payday to the dismay of ADT, who led coming to the white flag, only to end up outside the money in fourth. Gus Lawrence ended third, and Austin Garrison second. And as the KA Juniors take to the racetrack for our second of the 7 warm-up sessions, going through that whole highlight reel, gut reactions or instant reactions, fellas? Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much for Caleb Gaffera, right, a long time coming, and he even had the chance to speak to Josh Oates last weekend when we were at Route 66 for that event, and he just always said, right, they have the equipment to win. They're always in the position to win, and it's always been, one thing or the other, for one reason or not, they couldn't really capitalize at the end where Caleb was able to come away with the first place finish or come away with that big payday. And there's been a lot of development for that team, for Caleb G to step into that role that Nick Terlecki held last year. So for him to now fill that and to finally get that win for the team, to finally get that payday, to pay a little bit back to Josh Oates on all the hard work they've been doing, right? It's been a long time coming for them, and I know Josh was definitely ecstatic about that. And just frustrating up until that point for him. Even speaking to him in the shootouts, I don't even think he was expecting to win. We were talking up here on the flag stand, and he said, yeah, we're just always in the position. We'll see if we can get it done.
Yeah, Caleb, I think that's a great point. Probably one we didn't touch on enough last night was that, what a huge win for Hodes Driver Development. I mean, we've seen the speed of Nick Terlecki last year, got a win in Stars last year, but I mean, to come away with a win in X30 shootout and X30 Pro was huge, and especially for Caleb Gaffara. I mean, I was talking last night with Nate, and when you look back at his junior career and kind of the couple of years that he's had in Pro Senior, go back to his last year of X30 Junior and tell yourself his first win in X30 Pro would come in 2024, and you wouldn't believed it. I mean, just kind of the struggle and kind of the just last couple of years of development that Caleb Gaffara has had in X30 has been something to watch. And I mean, look, we go back to the race. We've had a night to sleep on it. Had a little bit to think about it. I mean, I look back on it, I look at the move in turn 3, and I think I kind of see the same thing that everyone else sees, and that it's kind of the same as 2021, but he actually took the move. I mean, what are your thoughts?
100%. I mean, looking back at it, I actually talked a bit with Eric and with Blake this morning as they looked at the clips. Obviously, in the run of things here, when those races happen, the officials are looking at it as they happen from the fence line at ground level. So you can't really tell how big or small any movement like that is. But the reason why I draw the comparison to 2021, he did what Braden Eves wasn't able to do. And what Brandon Jarsekrak did was a little bit different than what DeTulio did, right? Ale probably watched some of those shootout races on that same layout to study. Saw, okay, if I'm in the lead going up the hill to turn 3, I don't want to open the door down the back straightaway. And granted, they do that a lot in the heat races, but Caleb's instant reaction was like, dude, you hit the brakes, right? And when you defend up to that corner, it's flat out, and you can make it flat out even though you scrub speed, cutting it tight instead of using the runoff by just cutting your hands hard and making it where the guy can't get underneath you. But because Ale slowed down more, probably trying to anticipate a potential shove from the back, it gave Caleb the opportunity to really just barely root him. And again, as frustrated as ADT and Gus Lawrence were on their behalf, right? Caleb's points, I think, to Gus were equally back and forth, and just a total difference in culture, really, of what's acceptable or what's not. I mean, you could make a very good argument that, you know, with Gus's moment that he nearly ended up spinning out, trying to be as quick as he was to cut the inside off before Austin Garrison could get there, and as much as he was defending, right, in the middle of the race and the early parts of the race, that was worthy of a move. Did Ale do anything like that in the middle of the race? No, he was having to charge through the field, but those shootout races are different. A move like that, seen it allowed in the SCUSA Pro Tour, was the way Gavin Bailiff got his first career win in Texas. There were plenty of moves way worse without penalties or without even any chats that happened in the shootout races in the heats on that specific division, right? And probably on the last lap further back behind our cameras. So to me, that's a going for it race, and you know, so many drivers there. I mean, DeTulio got in his way on merit, but the night before he got in on a promoter pick, right? You don't have to run the all-star shootouts. If you want to save your stuff, we've seen guys sit out. Aiden Levy qualified last year, was sick, wanted to focus on the main event championship today. He didn't run, right? You don't have to do it, but it's a fun run. It's an entertainment race. It's a way to just do something a little bit different and have some fun racing at Trackhouse and something new. So to me, yeah, last lap, I think fair game, and now it's like, okay, everybody knows that. Now today, it's different, right? You one side of the pushback wasn't a penalty last night. It is today, but it wasn't a hefty shove. It was just hard racing.
Caleb. Yeah, very agreed. And to really wrap things up here on that point, I think it shows a lot about Caleb Gaffera, right? More than anything, coming into the weekend, I think a lot of us were questioning ourselves, is this kid the right fit for host driver development? Is he a race winner? And I think last night he kind of showed everybody that he was, more than anything. And that being said, it shows a lot, right? This kid's here to win races. That program's here to win races.
I mean, that's what you want out of your driver, right? If you're behind any of your drivers in your camp, you want them to win on the racetrack or basically fall over trying, right? And to give 110% for that entire crew that lit up, right, once he got the lead back. That's the guys you fight for. You don't really, it's fine if you are friends with your competitors, but those aren't the guys that are supporting you and trying to get you to the race win. So today here for KA Jr, warm-up complete now with Sunday's main event on the line for 30 plus. And how about Tyrone Kemper Jr.? He's started to get closer and closer into the top 10 of both junior classes, and now he tops the board in the final practice session of the weekend over Lucas Palacio, who seems to have had the field covered as of yesterday, but the whole field's a whole lot tighter back on the standard layout, and it'll be a show in KA Junior and KA Senior, which is up on deck. So we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, KA 100 Senior split in two groups right now for the final time this weekend, and all 50 of them are going racing this afternoon.
Hey guys, it's Lucas Nogueira here, and today we're going to talk about some cool features that Race Studio 3 has that people normally don't know about it. And the first thing is how to check the weather between two sessions on Race Studio 3, okay? So here, I got a comparison with Orlando on the Rotax, and if you look on the bottom left, I have the weather showing my ambient temperature, pressure, humidity, and even the wind direction and wind speed. And then I have this from 1 week of the Rotax Winter Trophy, and then the second week was a bit hotter. So we kind of know how the carburation will change when the weather changes. And to be able to get this, all you gotta do is when you are on Race Studio 3, you come up here and you log in into your account. You gotta create an account on the AIM website and just log in. If you log in and have internet on, it will pull the weather from the previous year of sessions that you have. All right, so we got a second nice feature that a lot of people don't know about, which is the track map coming from Google on the background. So if you just connect your computer to the internet, you can come up here and click on this Google Earth icon, and it will pull the background from the Google Earth into your GPS data. So normally it's very well aligned, and you can see if the driver is hitting the apex, changing his line. But if it's not aligned, you can change which server you are using. So right here we are in Quaker City, it's a brand new track. If I change from Google to Bing, you'll see that I don't even have a track there because it's a brand new track and Bing hasn't updated. So if yours is not aligned, all you gotta do is change to a different server here. I've been using Google so far and it works pretty well.
You know, I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my god.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want. Like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need. All at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
KA100 Senior Group B onto the racetrack for warm-up. Now Christopher McKeithen, the first one to go just a little bit quicker than the field. And as Caleb Vieska steps out, he'll be getting ready to join more of the drivers on the grid and get some final thoughts here on this championship Sunday morning. But Kyle and myself watching a bit more of the final practice sessions. Let's talk about some of the big names. One thing in particular, how about the kid again on top of the board? Christopher McKeithen. I got to catch up a little bit with himself and team owner at Precision Performance Karting, John Seglem, last night. And this is the beginning of more showings for him in KA100 Senior, right? A CKNA Grand Nationals champion. He'll be back in action again, of course, for the biggest race in all of North America by entry count, the Newcastle Motorsports Park. Entry just started this week. We spoke to Keith Warren. They're already trying to make sure that they're holding capacity or setting capacity and wait list limits and everything, because it's, I think, already well over 200. But the former winner there is hoping to continue to work on his development in the next level up, K100 Senior. And he even got to join the shootout Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so cool what BGR has been doing recently. I mean, I was unaware of Christopher McKeithen until we went and covered the CKNA Grand Nationals, and to see him kind of make that jump into K100 Senior, and then you also see, you know, Jared Clark kind of come up on the scene this year and win some races. And I think we've seen the James Overbeck story. I think it's really cool what they're doing, developing drivers and kind of moving them on up into the K Senior category, into, you know, higher two-cycle categories.
I agree. I think so. Christopher McKeithen's backstory: he lives about 45 minutes down the road here from Trackhouse Motorplex. You know, I've seen that young man since he was in Briggs Cadet here, and he was impressive then. But like many drivers, right, your budget only goes so far, and what they could afford to do was a lot of the club racing here, and getting linked up with Brandon, getting linked up with John, allowed him to get to travel more. He's now gone to the Canadian National Championships and won again at the biggest race at our friends north of the border, just very recently, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it was last weekend. So off the back of that, all the performances he's put on display over the last couple of years, and now getting the opportunity to see drivers like him take the next step with a support system that has more championships than I can count to right now when you start to go through the accolades of Brandon, of the championships that Austin Miles has guided as a well-respected driver coach, and of course Paulie Massimino now an OKN Stars champion and a multi-time IAME Grand National shootout race winner. And last year, Caleb Gafera went up against Paulie with an outside shot at the OKN Stars title here at Trackhouse. And Caleb, now you're an X30 shootout race winner. We were talking right before we went to the commercial break about, your journey into senior, right? You're with the dynasty in junior with Rolison Performance Group. You have a banner year, and then to enter the senior class and then kind of end up not really, I wouldn't say not finding your footing, but you bounced around. You were trying to find the right environment, the right opportunity. Obviously, Ryan Norberg was the leader at RPG, so there wasn't a room there. And now, how do you feel at month 7 with Hoots DD?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, I can't thank the boys enough over there. We've had a great year. We've always been in the top to be at the front and shoot for the win. And last night we were able to get it done, and can't be more happy about that.
Yeah, talk to me about what the outreach was like. We obviously can see what's public with all the comments on all the posts and all the love that you got. Did you have your phone start blowing up once you got back to the pit area?
Yeah, I mean, it was instant. A lot of people were watching, and and thank you everybody for saying good job. Thank you for all the support, boys.
Caleb, kind of tell us, the last 7 months with Hoots, you, Josh Hoots, and then you got, one of your buddies, Cameron Weinberg, on the wrenches. It seems like you two really work well together. Kind of talk about the relationship within the team that's kind of led to this.
Yeah, I mean, me and Cam have been buds for a good long time, and we raced here with Chad Dawkins last year, and we had a solid year. Ended up getting taken out in the last lap. Unfortunate, but it was an awesome year last year, and we're gonna try to make it even better this year. But Josh helping me out, and us putting everything together for this year, and we're doing double duty here and at Supernats, so it's gonna be awesome to keep the speed going.
Well, we'll let you get going here. 2 minutes left in the group before you. Any final thoughts? Anyone else? Quick shout out before you got to get your gear on.
I'd just like to thank my parents. They're going to Mexico right now. They left me. So,
come on.
I know, right? And then, but Josh, Chris, Cole, Cameron, Circle K, all my sponsors, just thank you, everyone.
There you go. Caleb Gafera in 1 minute and 45 seconds and a little bit of change. He's going to be on the racetrack. We'll go back to the on-track action. Caleb, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get unsuited from our gear and head back out to put your racing gear on. And yeah, what a moment for him. His teammate here on screen, Eli Warren, the Hoots DE camp with a handful of entries for the IAME Grand National Championship. And kind of like Caleb alluded to, Caleb Vieska earlier, about how, this year has been a lot of close calls and a lot of big push for that camp. For Josh, it's been a big investment year, buying a new tent, growing the program, doing more testing back home. And they've had a lot of big moments, right? Eli Warren scored some pole awards for him, and yet that big win didn't come until just 12 hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give a big shout out as well to Nick Terlecki, who hasn't been able to race with it this year as well. I mean, the work that he did last year in running up front, I think was huge. And, it's a little bit disappointing to not see him in the fold this year. I think we would love to see Nick back. And, yeah, I mean, it's just amazing what we've seen out of Hoots TV.
I do have some news on that, actually. A shout out to a good friend, Ryan Spirowski. Let me know earlier this week. Nick Terlecki, his first race back in action is the Newcastle Motorsports Park Club race that just wrapped up last night. It was still going after our shootout races, 350 entries. He's going to be racing the CKNA Grand Nationals with the Happy Kart squad. Oh, yeah. And we are very happy to see Nick Terlecki back. It was such a heartfelt story to watch him go through what he had to off track at the Super Nationals with the unfortunate timing of his father going to the hospital. It was very scary for a moment. And Nick, the maturity that had to be required to handle running your family's business, running your dad's business, and trying to focus on racing 2 classes at the Super Nationals, and he podiumed in one of them. It was an incredible story. And Nick, if you're watching here, we've been thinking of you all year. We're happy to see you back, and we're looking forward to putting you back on our cameras in a couple of weeks in Newcastle for the CKNA Grand Nats. And hopefully he can put on another show there, because the one thing that we've come to see with some of the vets that come out to play at this event, it's like riding a bike. It doesn't take long to remember how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as someone who writes the stat sheets all year, Nick Terlecki last year just put in so many great runs under that camp, and yeah, I'm really excited to see him back.
And how about the Ryan Perry Motorsport crew talking about veterans coming back. Aiden Levy, Trackhouse Motorplex Club champion and a national champion. Second there with his teammate Luca Brancati with a very impressive performance there in the warm-up session. So there you have it. KA Senior Group B done. Group A, we just spoke with Caleb Gaffera. He was able to get over and get his gear on. He's in the go-kart and ready along with the rest of the 25 that'll be rolling. And Group B here in the scale line. So Group A onto the racetrack here. Luca Brancati and, of course, Aiden Levy, fastest in the first half of the K100 Seniors. These drivers, some of them have gotten to see each other even if they didn't qualify together, but there hasn't been that full lead pack of all the major players. Well, we've got the eyes on Caleb Gaffera as we finished with the eyes and spotlights on him last night. Let's take a moment here to go through the rest of this group. How about the kid that just went to the top of the board? Jared Clark, what a storyline for this weekend, right? Gets his first win at the Queen City Gambit for the Stars Series, first of 2 home state events. We saw the emotion on his teammate, Lawrence Perriman, of how much it meant for him. And for Jared, it was a very similar story, and a very similar story as well to Christopher McKeithen. You know, his mom on the racetrack taking photos, helping support the kids racing. Dad's on the wrenches. Brandon Jarskak, remember, he talked to me about this young man last year, saying, look, I really want to help these guys out. My heart bleeds for everyone that races with me, but, you know, the mom's helping me with my socials, taking some photos for us, doing everything. If there's anything else that, you know, you have an idea, they're willing to work for it. And the kid as well. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and he's had to face a lot of adversity already.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate moment in the first heat while leading, hitting the barrier. He's going to start 20th today, so he's got a long way ahead of him to get to the front. But, I mean, longer final, 22 laps, I believe, for the KA Seniors. You know, he's going to – we've seen bigger runs through the field, right? We've seen guys in these long finals at IAME Grands kind of make those runs from the back, and I think he's certainly someone to watch for. I think this KA Senior race, you know, I said it this morning to the guys while we were getting ready. I'm a big X30 Pro guy, but I think KA Senior is going to be probably the one to watch. It's going to be the banger. The points just getting to the pole this weekend were so close, where it came down all the way to the second heat, where you didn't know until the final laps who was going to be on the pole. There were at least 8 guys in contention.
Well, one driver who's with us now as we continue to watch KA Senior warm-up get underway was someone who won from the pole. Didn't have to drive back from anywhere in the shootout race last night. Ashton Woon. Ashton, obviously, you had a quick turnaround from the celebration for you, at least on our end with the cameras, where we had to focus getting ready for the big boys and girls in X30 Senior. But talk to me about what last night was for you. We saw your mom fired up on the fence. Your dad was fired up, the whole team. What was it like to get to win under the lights with the whole squad supporting you?
It was really fun. It was actually a really fun race. I was really fast in the beginning. I've done this layout before, which definitely helped me, and I know some drivers haven't done it, and I was really fast on it, and I got the win.
Now talk to me about today, right? Going into the Grand National Championship main event. These are long main events, X30 Jr. You guys got 22 laps. What is so different for you guys when you were talking with your dad, with Alex Speed, with Austin, I'm sure, with Mario? You know, what did they tell you here this morning that you need to go out and get a feel for, and how do you have to change your approach when you go this much longer on the regular track?
So I'm not starting in the best position for KA, and they just want me to, whenever I'm on someone's bumper, they just want me to go, and try and get up to the front.
And then what about X30?
X30, I'm starting pretty far up the grid, and just trying to hold my position and see if I can get the win.
Now, for your teammates in KA Senior, Austin Garrison's got a pretty good spot. You got a couple other teammates that are running in this class. You got faith in them? Can they get it done?
Yeah, Austin's really good. It's sad that it's his last year, but I think he can definitely do it.
For sure. A little bit of breaking news there. We'll touch more on that here in a minute. But Ashton, we know you got to get ready as well. So while we've got you here for a minute, who would you like to thank, and any last shout-outs before you get your helmet on and get ready to go?
I want to thank SCR, all my sponsors, Porsche North Scottsdale, my dad, my mom, and that's it.
There you go. Well, Dad and Mom should be happy to get a shout-out and put $1,000 back in the racing fund last night.
Yep.
There you go. Ashton Moon, folks. We'll cut back to the on-track action here as we close out the warm-up session. And we'll let Ashton go ahead and get ready. Okay, Senior Group A, Paulie Massimino now the fastest with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go over Blake Nash and James Overbeck. And, well, they'll shuffle because they're all getting the last little bit of tow. And the cooler temps here kind of giving way to fast laps towards the end of the session, much different than the heat that we saw through the weekend earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit cooler today, so probably a bit of testing going on actually in these warm-ups. Paulie Massimino there in P2. He won the shootout on Friday. You know, he could double up over that put him at in the KA cut. That's $8,000 because it's $4,000 a shootout and final.
Yep.
So I think he's probably the favorite. He was looking really good to be on the pole, but 10-point gap between first and second when Austin Garrison got the win. Just barely got it over Paulie. I think he's the favorite in KA. What do you think?
I think so. You look at the races that he's won here in KA, right? The U.S. Pro Kart Series even earlier this year. You know, he won on this layout at that event in May. When we go back to it, in that race, he went backwards, I believe, twice in 2 big moments. And he didn't let the pack rattle him. It was very similar, honestly, to his X30 Pro win in Road America. He might not be the most, spectacular driver when it comes to the racecraft. Maybe a little bit the opposite of that. You could make the argument for both Caden McQueen and especially Zachary Clayman and Mello, who are on screen in the Velocity Sodies. Paulie does a good job about really not getting too rattled out there, and that's very easy to do in a class like this, especially when you have half the weekend where you're only racing half the drivers, right? We've only got 24, 25 karts on track, makes a lead pack, maybe 3 or 4 deep in most of those heats. ZCD even broke away and dominated at the end of the day yesterday all by himself in the second heat, and then Caden McQueen himself and Colin Lloyd broke away in the super heat. But when you get into a main event, you combine everyone. I think sometimes the drivers almost aren't expecting the pack. They know on paper that it's going to be bigger, but expecting how much they have to change their approach and their mentality of attacking the race. You can be, focused fully on one driver or another and really take your time picking them apart, thinking about them when it's only the 2 or 3 of you out front. But we're going to see the group combine together with, obviously, look at the times. 1/10 of a second for the first 7 cars in this group alone. There could very easily be 10 or 15 karts on the racetrack. You have to keep your head on a swivel. Things are going to come at you fast. You got to be on high alert, and you cannot let your emotions get the best of you. You have to stay calm, collected, and being able to think clearly to win these races. I would agree. I think Paulie's a good favorite. You got obviously a lot of young bucks that are starting to get the handle on that type of racing. Chase Gassiet Lee, notably there, now fastest here in this group over James Overbeck, who's obviously been able to master it. It took him a little bit, but by the end of last year, he was able to do exactly that in his first race win, and then the race wins kept on coming since then. Blake Nash, 3rd, Paulie 4th, and then Colin Lloyd rounding the top 5. Peyton Phillips a bit further back, which is kind of a surprise to me, even though he's only 4/10 off, because, again, he was so fast on this layout Friday afternoon after the bad qualifying session. But if Paulie's the favorite, we're going to get to hear from him if he feels that way. Let's go over to you, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Standing by here with Paulie. Obviously, different conditions this morning, a little bit cooler out. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Kind of seemed like we need to find a little bit. Not really sure where I was this morning, but struggling with a little bit of rear grip. But yeah, we'll see. First time on the track today, so track's a little freer this morning. Maybe as the sun comes out a little bit, might change.
There you go. We'll let Paulie Massimino roll through his skills as well as his teammates. We'll send it back over to you guys.
K100 Senior now puts us right at the halfway mark here in the morning rotation of sessions. Mini Swift coming up next here, followed by X30 Jr and then X30 Pro. We're starting to see and feel the temps pick up a little bit. It's getting a little bit brighter outside. right on cue. Should be beautiful weather here for the main events later today. Warm-up still to come on the other side of this break, though, so stick with us, folks. We'll keep the action going, the information going for Kyle, myself, and Caleb, and the rest of the crew. We hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll continue it on the other side.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and 0 sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
This is Henry.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the IAME Grand National Championship main event Sunday on tap. A little bit of contact right as we come back. That's a heck of a wake-up call here for Mini Swift as they get underway. And joining us now on the morning show, Gus Lawrence. Gus, last night you weren't in the best of moods with the way that the night ended for you. You did end up in the money, but I know you wanted more. You led the majority of the laps in the shootout race. How are you feeling this morning with a night to sleep on everything?
No, obviously, initially after the race, we all have a high adrenaline, bit of red mist, and you say stuff. Sometimes you look back on and you not the best. But no, last night was a quite a good race from my half. Like, played quite defensive and put the kart in the right places. No contact from my point of view, but it's a shame the race went that way. But that's how the shootout goes, from my understanding. So we'll remember that for next year, hopefully. And no, taking it into today, we learned a little bit last night. We made some changes this morning just to see in practice, and then make our decision for the grand final.
Yeah, were you guys able to kind of learn anything of the parts of the track that obviously will be part of the standard layout, from last night to tonight, or to this afternoon, I should say?
Well, I've had a few handling issues all weekend, really, on both layouts. So, and I saw a little bit of that again last night on the fresh tyres. So again, taking this morning practice to make some adjustments and see how we go.
And talk to me about the feeling for you now with a couple of weekends under your belt with all the boys at RPG. Is it starting to feel a bit homey, a bit comfortable when you fly over here? I know we've talked about the jet lag in the past, but at this point, you've got a couple weekends. You've won with them. You've been in the trenches with them, and then you went through a pressure cooker scenario with the back-to-back sessions and gaps last night. How does it feel? How do you feel with that whole group gelling?
No, it's a good atmosphere. We all work together. We all learn from the pros and the cons, so it's a good place to be, and I'm glad I'm there.
Yeah, I guess, you mentioned coming back here next year, learning some things. I just have one question. How committed are you, to coming back next year, this year in the United States to kind of go after these big races like the IAME Grands, Super Nationals like later this year? How committed are you to coming back?
Obviously, I'd love to, but we just need to see how the rest of the year plays out. Obviously, we're doing Las Vegas in both classes, KA and X30, so that'll be interesting. Doing double duty. A whole new event for me, and especially driving the KA will be a new experience. And then, see what's on the cards for next year.
Do you? I know we've talked about this in the past as well. Do you have at least someone to help you on the wrenches for Vegas this year?
No, I've got a great mechanic at the minute.
Okay.
So we'll see what Rolly and Joni put in place for Vegas. But either way, I'm looking forward to it.
because that's something I think that we haven't talked about yet that the viewers probably don't know. You have been wrenching on your own go-kart under the tent for every event up until this weekend, right?
No, last USPKS.
Okay, yeah.
But the event I won at MCC, I was on the tools, yeah, and that was it was
That was
rewarding.
hot.
It was rewarding to end on a good note.
Yeah, we walked by you at the end of the day. You were focused in on the laptop, scrubbing the data, trying to find every little bit, and I'm sure this weekend's been no different, looking and hunting. How different has it been, especially now coming back to a track that at least you've raced at once now here in the U.S., but different weather, different conditions, obviously different layouts.
Yeah.
You know, how much are you starting, I guess, from zero at the start of a weekend and then having to learn as you get on track sessions? How much do you kind of come in with some notes now?
Yeah, I always write it all down from the past few tracks, but I didn't write anything down from my first time here, so I remembered a few bits and
big mistake then.
Yeah, what to look out for and what I needed to work on. It's definitely helped, and to be honest, actually struggling with a similar problem, so it obviously all correlates. So yeah, we'll see how this morning practice goes and see if it's solved the problem.
Any other last bits of thoughts here from me to you, and then I'll give Kyle a chance before we let you go. You got to commentate with me during the KA shootout, got to see a little bit of our inside and see it from the full picture view, again, what the viewers at home get to see and more so. And then you got to be in the environment. The main event and how it ended aside, what was it like? Was it what you were expecting? Was there anything that you didn't expect in terms of that hot grid kind of setup, the 10-minute gaps between the sessions, taking everything that is so perfectly placed, as Mike Rollison likes it, right? Nice and neat and tidy inside that big rig, having to take it to the tents over here and then quickly go back out, you know, with a pill pick heat and everything.
I was quite lucky. We didn't really change much setup-wise. It seemed to be okay. And obviously in that type of event, you just need to get on with it. You can't hunt for perfection. You just need to put the kart in the right place and race the best you can. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Like, I had 2 solid heats, a second and a 9th, I believe, which put me on first. And yeah, you just need to have a little bit of luck go your way in that type of event. And because of it, it's a 10-minute turnaround. Unless you're drastically off, you just sort of have to get on with it.
And I guess with a night to sleep on it, looking through the entire race, you know, kind of running it back in your head, what would you have done different?
In the race last night?
Yeah.
Again, from my half, I didn't see anything wrong. I raced quite well. Obviously, it's a 20-lap shootout, winner takes all. So it's like you're racing for the end goal like that after that sole race. Defended, and just so happened I got persuaded out the way at the top corner there, and that was unfortunate. But it's a shame I dropped back quite a bit after that incident. Obviously, I lost a few they got me on the switchback from that, and managed to grab third on the last lap after Tulio, but. Yeah, it's just unfortunate it went that way from my half. Obviously, fair play to the guy who won. And, no, yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, what was going through your head, too, right, when you were all out of shape? We got a great look at it where the one lap, Austin almost had a nose on you. And, I mean, talk about kart control.
I was just going for my defensive line, and obviously he clipped my back bumper with his nose cone, so that threw it off. And, yeah, it just happens. It's like riding a bike. The faster you go, sometimes it's easier to catch it. And, yeah, it seemed to get it under control for the left and get back in the rhythm, but that obviously from my defensive driving, it made the race quite close-knit, and yeah, obviously to the end it spread out again at the end. It was a 3-4 man battle for the last 2 laps, so no, it was an interesting race to be a part of.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think from our angle on the side,
yeah,
I don't think it shows as well as when you're looking head on. From where the fence line
how much
was,
movement and everything.
You could see the entire side pod. You were completely sideways. I have no idea how you saved that.
Yeah, I watched it back, and it was. I was opposite lock both ways when I tanked.
And then to do that and still keep the lead.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see a smile on your face here this morning. New day, another $5,000 on the line. More importantly, the Grand National Championship title and a long race where strategy will play in over 25 laps. Gus, we'll let you go and get ready for warm-up. We appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much.
And as we go back to the warm-up sessions here, Mini Swift coming to a close. Maxwell Macha, your fastest driver over Jaden Francisco and Colton Bruck. Then Santiago Orioli and Isaac Carvalho, your top 10. Holden Myers, Camila Canache, Marcelo Flores, Cade Wolf, and Lawrence Perriman, last night's heartfelt Mini Swift shootout winner, and what a way it was for him to get it done. Close, oh so close, was Comp Kart and Timmy Tech driver Holden Myers. Cade Wolf just ahead of Lawrence Perriman, and we've got a fellow Comp Kart driver here standing by with Caleb.
Xander, I'm standing by here with Oliver Hodgson before you get ready to go out for your warm-up session. The first really bit of pace that we saw to you was in that X30 Pro shootout. Now having a day to kind of debrief from it, you were obviously on the bad end of it. Just talk about the shootout a little bit and how you're feeling going into today.
Yeah, so the shootout, obviously my first time doing it, so I was excited to go quick fire on a layout that was new. Yeah, I think I was pretty happy with how we put down and went there. I think the second heat really hurt us because I think we were moving well. And had we continued that momentum, would have been looking very very near the front or front row start for the main. And it split the nose in the second one. It went under the kart, so we lost so much ground getting the nose out. Then the final was it was a pretty disappointing feeling driving around because the nose got fired in literally into turn one. So it was it's never completely over, but you got pretty slim chances. And the kart doesn't handle well. Once that nose cone's all the way back in, it's not got the front bars clamped up. So I think we went round reasonably, but it was not what we could do. And yeah, I think it seems to be that on all the layouts here so far this weekend, we've struggled to start, then been able to understand what to do and got better and better. So yeah, see if we can be a bit more ahead of the game today and give ourselves a good chance. So feel good at the progress we've made and yeah, excited to go at it. And
yeah, you said you've been struggling. What exactly is that you're struggling with?
I think here actually surprised me how much just having the kart set up right made a difference. So I'm normally a driver who will, I'll get the kart in a big wide window and just be like, right, it's up to me, let's go. And here, that's not been the case. Whatever the root cause, whether it's just the way the tires are, the track is, or just that I haven't drove a lot of X30 in the last 2 years, that we've just had to have the kart kind of right, and it's been a little bit narrower window to get it correct.
Well, there you go. I'll wish you the best of luck for your warm-up session. Xander, I'll send it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Getting ready to get the X30 Pros out on the racetrack, and we got a X30 Pro that is officially now a middle schooler. Have you started the school year yet, Davin?
I'm going to start after this weekend.
All right, so there we go. So officially in middle school, and going against Oliver Hodgson, who I believe is either 32 or 33 years old. Now, you got your first podium in Wisconsin. Now we're at home. You won this race in X30 Jr last year. Talk to me about what the junior drivers that we're watching on the racetrack need to do. What's the key to victory here over the 22-lap main event that stands in the way of them?
I feel like just staying in the fight. I mean, last year I went back probably close to last and just kept working my way back up. Just got to stay in the fight. And yeah, I feel like that's just the main key, staying in the fight, not getting yourself in any wrecks, not getting yourself in any trouble, and having decent pace. I feel like you'll be up there in the fight.
And I'll ask you the same question I asked Gus, because I know you've been able to watch all the X30 Pro shootouts over the years, and last night getting to be a part of the chaos. Was there anything you didn't expect going in? Was it exactly what you expected? What was it like?
It was, I don't really know how to word it. It was very different. Nobody's going to give an inch, and honestly, I felt like maybe I was a little too soft, but yeah, it was fun because I've been watching it ever since IAME Grand started in 2021. I've just been watching it, always wanting to be in it. And last year we were in the junior one, finished second, and fortunately we made the main and pro shootout last night. So hopefully next year we can build on that.
Yeah.
So Davin, you've experienced winning this in X30 Junior. You start 18th, a little bit farther back than you want, and a few more laps of, a bit more to save throughout the race. What can you take from last year and into this year?
Well, like I said, staying in the fight. I feel like in the final, it's definitely going to be a packed-up race, and we haven't really been having the pace we've been wanting. But I feel like in the shootout, we found some pace, and yeah, I feel like that's it.
It's a level playing field with new tires here this morning. I imagine a good bit of the field is going on sticker rubber. Will you be for warm-up or on scuffs?
I will be on stickers.
So there you go. So trying to get a better read, because that's the other big part of it, right? You don't have to worry about tire management from earlier parts of the weekend, good or bad. It's dead even for the 25 laps. Over the course of a 25-lapper here, we had a pretty lengthy USPKS main. Are there parts through the race where you have enough time to think about managing tires, or you have to kind of manage your stuff at all? Because it's, again, a pretty lengthy final.
Yeah, I feel like about mid-race, you can start thinking about saving tires, especially if the race starts stringing out. And I feel like I said, I feel like it's going to be pretty close. And mid-race, it might start stringing out a little bit, but I feel like by the closing 5 laps, we'll all be back in a pack together.
And final bit for you, you talked about, again, looking up to all those guys and then going wheel to wheel with them in the shootout. And the shootout's a different animal, right? We know it's an all-star event. It's a show. There's a little bit more lax race directing, and the drivers are kind of allowed to sort things out amongst themselves. But this year, I feel like you've made a very good impression and point to try and give respect, not get walked on necessarily, but at the same point, play smart. And, I think back to, when Connor Zilish moved up and Ryan talked about Ryan Norberg, Austin Garrison, the class that he clashed with, especially, at the front of the field at that time. A lot of the runs were with Ryan and a lot of the RPG crew. Said Connor drove very smart. And so with driving smart, he earned the respect of them, and they treated him very quickly like one of their own. Are you feeling a little bit of that? Because I feel like that's kind of how you wanted to play this year. You wanted to be the guy that the veterans looked at and said, hey, this kid might be young, very young in your case, on an age waiver, but he's driving like how we want a mature driver to drive.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of my competitors. I mean, ADT was telling me that this weekend. And I'm like, look, I'm just driving how I normally drive, and I'm racing how I want to be raced, and I want to be raced with respect. And I feel like if I show them that respect, then I'll get it back.
Well, we'll let you get ready. 2 minutes here before you head out for warm-up, Davin. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck today.
Thank you, Xander. I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah. We'll get ready to go back for X30 Jr here and cover the last bits of their warm-up session before we get set to send it for the X30 Pros. 2 minutes until we go green. Ashton Woon still quickest, but let's send it over to Caleb as the X30 Pros are just about ready, and we'll head down for the final session.
Thank you. Well, one of the things you touched on there, Xander, was the new sets of tires here for the Pro X30s, and I'm going to get out of the way before we get going. I'm looking over here to the left, Brooke Shambo on a scrub set, Ryan Rafa on a new set of tires, and you see that a lot because, again, everybody's going to be on a new set of tires later on today as well in the main event. Nothing to save. Sticker set for ADT as well. We're going to move our way back here as well. We're going to go all the way down the grid. Same set, used set for Finnegan Bailiff. Oliver Hodgson going on that new set of tires, as well as Davin Roberts, like he previously mentioned. Hayden Jones on the outside, new set of tires, sticker set of tires. Jacob Kolar, old set, the same for Gus Lawrence. He's going to be on a sticker set of tires, and you see just how shiny those things are, right? Just going to get those, trying to get that data, if you will. Stephen Miller, new set of tires for him as well. You look over to the Energy Kart of Levi Sangera. He's going to be on a sticker set of tires. Chase Gassiet-Lee, one of the drivers that we saw run up front yesterday, he's going to use already a scrubbed-in set. Here the same thing for Remy Andriatos. Austin Garrison, not a helmet on. We'll take advantage to talk to Austin here a little bit. Austin, how you feeling this morning? Already going out in K. How are the ribs feeling? How are you doing?
Never been better. Never been better.
Well, I tell you what, the speed's been good for you in KA and in Pro X30. Just tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, we have a great package in both classes. We've been super fast all week. Our luck's kind of been up and down, but we're starting in a really good spot. We're starting first in KA and third in X30. So hopefully in this long 25-lap main event, my back doesn't blow out. My arms are still intact when I come off the racetrack, and then hopefully we come off with a big fat W.
There you go, and a big fat paycheck as well. Last thing, for the viewers at home, right, a sticker set of tires. What are you guys looking for here this morning, with putting that new set of tires on?
We're just kind of judging on how much grip that we're going to go in and have, because if you go out and put on a new set of tires in the main event and it's overstuck and you didn't really try to compensate for anything in morning warm-up, then you kind of hurt yourself in the long run. But today's weather's different. So it's a little bit cooler out. Track's pretty fast, and there's definitely a lot more grip getting laid down. And we're going to see now after morning warm-up if we need to make any minor adjustments for the main event.
Well, there you guys have from Austin Garrison. Hopefully he acquires some icy hot maybe for that back for him. Nonetheless, we look at the Sodis. Talked to them this morning. They're going to be on a scrub set of tires. The same goes for Caden McQueen, who's out here on the outside. Austin Perrin going on a scrub set as well. We move back to as well more of the Hoach driver development drivers. Sticker set for Perez as well. Dalton Haynes going to be on a sticker set of tires. What's going on here? What's going on?
Roman's race tire. R.I.P.
Here you go, Roman's racing tires. So I believe Roman not going to be joining us here this morning. Caleb Gaffera, last night's Pro X30 shootout winner, going to be on a sticker set of tires. And surprisingly to us, before we hit the commercial break, Paulie Massimino not on a new set of tires here this morning, neither for James Overbeck. So we'll see how we go. But that being said, Xander, I'll send it back over to you here really quick.
We'll cover their session here in a moment, folks, on the other side of this quick final commercial break. There's a look at the X30 Jr Warm Up. The X30 Pro's engines are ready to go. Travis Pettit, Lucas Palacio, Ashton Moon, Max Weiland, Royce Vega. We'll be right back.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Paulie Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakRacing.com.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Final bit of practice underway for the IAME Grand National Championship. X30 Pro onto the racetrack. They'll have 25 laps on tap today for the main event. Alessandro Di Tullio, albeit not a clean sweep of the weekend sessions, at least for the end of the night X30 shootout, but he has swept to this point. So he'll be starting nice and pretty on the inside of the front row. However, beyond that, there are definitely some movers and shakers that are going to be maybe a little bit fast in the warm-up with some fresh tires and maybe getting a bit of an advantage over those on scuffs. Austin Garrison taking advantage of the new rubber now here early, going to the top of the board, Kyle.
Yeah, and you see Kay McQueen coming in early. I mean, Caden was one of the guys I think kind of we've been sleeping on a little bit this week, and he won the Superheat in KA, and he starts 4th in today's Pro X30 final, coming in early, probably saving some rubber, and that was the biggest thing. I think Caleb's grid walking through the rubber, I think that was huge, because one thing I wanted to ask was, you know, how much of this warm-up do you actually take? And how big, because it's a 25-lap final, the longest race of the weekend. It's 3 laps longer than the other finals. On a higher horsepower class, you know, how, and we've seen in the last couple of years, Dalton Haynes, you know, run through the field. A couple of guys run through the field late in the going, not just throughout the entire thing, because they've saved tires in the beginning. You know, what do we think we're looking at rubber-wise?
Well, just kind of talking to these drivers, right? Austin really put it perfectly for everybody at home. Is they're just kind of testing the grip levels out there, how it's going to react to the different temperature here this morning, and then, you know, given it's going to be a lot longer main event, and you want to avoid, you know, those tires getting greasy and whatnot. So it's just fine tuning that a little bit more, and I'm sure Xander can get more into that. But my perspective, and even listening to Austin and even talking to him here, it's just you kind of get a little bit of an idea of what you're going to see in that main event, and you probably go to maybe an extreme or just a little bit less than that, if you will, to just fine tune it, and that's really what these drivers are kind of looking for this morning. For those that aren't on that new set of tires, I'm sure they still have a relatively new set that isn't that used, that they will have on that kart, so they can see, you know, have a relative idea of what they're going to see. But that's really what they're looking for here, Xander, and I'll let you touch on it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about track development. You know, they were on track for qualifying middle of the day Friday afternoon. Now, granted, that's around the same time their main event will go. But we've thrown so many sets of tires at this racetrack. We've run it so many different ways. We've been able to spend, of course, probably the first few sessions, first couple classes, relaying rubber, or at least clearing the path, going the proper direction through the infield at turn number 8. So the track's going to be way different today. The conditions are a bit different, but the track itself is going to be a totally different animal than what they qualified on Friday. So to say that your notes from Friday on a new set of tires are exactly what you can go on is probably not the right call. And if you have the luxury of being able to throw a set of tires at it and put yourself in the same scenario of what you're going to be in about 2 hours when their main event rolls, I like it. You see it at Supernats all the time, right? They put new tires on for qualifying Thursday. They run scuffs through Friday, Saturday, and pretty much the whole field's going new tires for one final test run Sunday morning before opening ceremonies and the big main events go. Same scenario at the U.S. Pro Kart Series with a single main event, qualify Friday, and they don't get another chance to really try new tires till way later in the track evolution. So that's what the benefit of it is, and of course it makes it a little tougher to read who our favorite should be when only half the field goes for that little more expensive option to get some testing in. Gus Lawrence obviously quickest, Caleb Gaffera, Alessandro DiTullio, but then the guys on scuffs, they're going to be well off, right? ZCD 6/10 off, probably more like 3 or 4. You think about a 2, maybe 3/10 boost for new tires, might be more than that.
Yeah, and I was just about to mention, how about at the top of the board is Davin Roberts just kind of split them. We have Caleb Gaffara, Gus Lawrence, and DiTullio all right back at the top, right where we left off. Today it's an ADT Gus Lawrence front row. They're back together. They've been really fast this weekend. And Caleb Gaffara, the winner of last night's shootout, 14th, somewhere in the midfield. Do you think Caleb, with the speed he showed last night and also in the warm-up, do you think he's got the speed and do you think he'll be able to make it up to the front, or do you think we're looking at maybe a runaway and maybe a battle for the top 2 early on?
Again, I think it just comes down to who has pace in the first 5 laps and if they're the leader, right? Last night's race would have looked way different if Austin Garrison had gotten by Gus Lawrence on lap 3, lap 4, even like lap 9 or 10. But because the fastest car wasn't out front, the field never spread apart. If the field spreads apart, Caleb ends up not really picking up too many spots on the start, and he's still around that 10th to 14th range. It's going to be very difficult. If we do see the field battle early, which very well could happen with the full straight back in action down the backstretch, different scenario. You just got to stay relatively close and hope that your pack doesn't fight when the leaders do and you catch up to them. Now, a thought that just crossed my mind, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend is an old saying. And Alessandro DiTullio and Gus Lawrence were not on the best of terms 2 weeks ago. Last night seems to have got them on the same page because now they were focused and frustrated with the way Caleb Gaffera won the main. Now they're under an alliance program with the same engine builder, AVP, for both of their power plants. The teams have worked in unison a lot. Ale is over in the RPG camp, and Gus, I'm sure, chatting with him a bit on back and forth. So whether that was water under the bridge already or last night was more so something else take their focus away, today the focus will be just on the 2 of them. Caleb's, like you said, starting pretty far back.
Yeah, but one thing that I think can help Caleb here today is the different conditions. I spoke a lot this morning to Josh Oates. He said the cooler temperatures, I think, suits Caleb's driving style a little more. He said yesterday and throughout the weekend, he found himself kind of over driving the racetrack just with the high grip situations. And now for it being cooler, Josh thinks that it's going to suit Caleb's driving style a lot more here today.
Yeah. Checkered flag flying.
I mean, I have to agree with Xander's point. I think with a front row of Gus Lawrence and Alessandro DiTullio, I think they're kind of going to, those are 2 frustrated guys right at the front who are really fast. They might just say, hey, let's work together. And in the last couple of laps, we'll race how we want to race, how we, thought we should have been raced last night, right? So I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and we didn't get to see, right, like Caden McQueen starting 4th, really get up and mix it up with any of them yesterday or last night either. So, if he gets a good start, if Austin Garrison gets up there, Austin drove Gus very respectfully. I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we went through the shootout, I felt like, Austin drove like a champion last night. And that's not how you, most of the time win the shootout races. You have to be over-aggressive, or at least more aggressive than what a championship points type of race or long race pays well for. But these lengthy mains, they work really good for the style of Austin Garrison. They work really good for the style of Paulie Massimino. You have time to react, to think, to slow things down, and play to the beat of your own drum, if you will, and set the tempo how you want to set it. You can't just be on high alert and getting rattled or basically not making a move and paying the price for it instantly. So I think it plays to the favor of those guys. I think it plays to the favor of Gus and Ali, how they wanted last night to go if it would have worked out, because you may see some defending in the first few laps, but they won't want to do that all race, like you said. They're going to defend maybe for a bit. At some point, they'll get a read of the gap back to 3rd, and if it's big enough, they may even wave each other by. We saw that in the heat races yesterday, Caleb.
Yeah, we saw that a lot. So, again, very long races, and that was one of my points when I talked to Joe at USPK. Those races are long. You're going to let a guy go in the first 2-3 laps in that first stage of the race, and in the end, you're going to start to see drivers kind of get into that groove, get into that zone. So, tire conservation in that main event, we heard it from Ryan, right? That's definitely going through these drivers' heads, especially at a place like Trackhouse.
Let's take a look at the final look at the results from that warm-up session. We popped them on screen here for you guys for just one moment. Again, still not the best accurate or the most accurate read. Caleb G, though, fastest at the end of warm-up, and it kind of goes along with what Davin was mentioning, what Gus was mentioning, that they did take away some good notes and maybe some more momentum from last night, being able to get on the track again, try a couple things back-to-back, and also be able to see some of the other changes the teams are making and see those karts up close with the pill pick heats back and forth. Blake Nash, what a heartbreaker last night, was fighting with everything he had to be in the transfer zone, and in the final couple laps of Heat 2 just slipped too far back. We didn't get to see him in action. 5th here in the warm-up. Garrison 6th, Hayden Jones, Dalton Haynes, Paulie Massimino, and the highest of, I think, the drivers on the scuffs, you got to go way back to Jacob Kolar's range around the 15th, so 4/10 off for him. He's won this race last year. The conditions, I mean, the skies aren't dark, but they weren't dark when we started the mains last year, and they darkened just enough for the kid from Key West to be able to, put all that ocean, views and living right by the unpredictable weather of South Florida and the southernmost part of the U.S. On display with slick tires on a wet racetrack.
I think a kid that we didn't mention on scuffs in P16 is Chase Cassioli.
Yeah.
He's starting P7 in this race, and as we saw last night, was running within the top 3 at points, ran a really smart race. So, P7, that's a position to fight from.
All right, well, let's close this one out with final picks. Caleb, you first. Who's winning today?
Austin Garrison, right? He was complaining about his back, complaining about the ribs, but I think Austin gets it done here tonight. He's one to look out for. The speed's been good, so Austin Garrison's my pick tonight.
Kyle?
We've been sleeping on him. I think it's Caden McQueen. Caden McQueen's going to get it done.
Oh, man. This is, I think I'll go with Gus, who joined us on the show. I think the speed that he's shown on this direction, on this layout, is really, really good. It's easy to pick Ale with how good he looked in the weekend, so I'm not going to give the nod to him. But I think Gus Lawrence, with what he was able to take away last night and what we learned watching him work to get that first American win in Cincinnati. He didn't win on the first day. He was fast. He got beat. Stayed late, studied, won the next day. We're at the end of the weekend. Sunday seems to be where that guy really finds his stride. So I'm going to go with the number 318.
Well, there you go. And we'll see who gets it done. We'll see who gets it done here later on today.
I'm excited. 5 years of this, it never gets old. This is one of the best races of the year. I'm so stoked to see all the classes today and everything that's going to transpire over the next couple hours. What will we know in the next 8 hours?
We'll know at least 6 drivers will be crowned IAME Grand National Champion. Maybe a couple double winners to knock that number down. Who knows? There's definitely a lot playing double duty. You'll get to watch it all if you're a KC Premium member. If not, we'll see you afterwards for the podiums and post-race presser and more of the debrief show. But if you've enjoyed our morning coverage, we hope you'll see us on the other side of this break as we get set for that first main event of the morning. Micro Swift beginning to form up behind us.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I went to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like $20 a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like $50 a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars.
Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion Paulie Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome, from Briggs 206 to Mini to K100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FL